Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you're doing well today, truly. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because today's story is one that so many of us, especially those who've lived a little life, will feel deep in our chest. Now, imagine this. You wake up one morning and everything feels almost the same, but not quite. The bed beside you, once filled with warmth, is suddenly just empty space. The routines you once shared, morning coffee, quiet laughs, inside jokes, feel like echoes. Nothing dramatic happened in that moment, but something has shifted. Something you never fully believed would happen to you. That's the moment we're exploring today. The moment life changes. Not with a scream, but with a sigh. Not with a grand finale, but with a quiet, painful first step into the unknown. And today, that moment belongs to Mark Consuelos, because the pain of a breakup, a separation, or a divorce is not just in the goodbye. It's in the very first action afterward. The first thing you do once the world knows your life will never be the same. That moment reveals who you are more than any press release ever could. And Mark's first step? It stunned everyone. So, let's set the stage. For decades, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have been one of those couples people point to and go, wow, they've got it figured out. Married since 1996, 3 kids, a life lived in the spotlight, but somehow still filled with genuine warmth. They were that rare Hollywood couple who looked real. Then the whispers began. Rumors of strain, comments on air about gray divorce, the rising trend of couples over 50 reevaluating their marriages, choosing independence over obligation. People noticed Kelly and Mark's tone shifting. Small things, tired jokes, offhand confessions. And then the news broke. Some fans were shocked. Others said they felt it coming. But everyone agreed this was more than celebrity gossip. This was the end of a love story many of us grew up watching. And for anyone in their midlife or older who's watched friends, siblings, even themselves go through massive transitions, the ground suddenly felt a little shakier because it reminded us that nothing is guaranteed, not even the things we're convinced will last forever. So the spotlight swung toward Mark. What would he do first? Retreat? Lash out? Stay silent? Surprisingly, no. His first public move after the separation wasn't angry, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't even defensive. It was graceful, quiet, humble, almost gentle. Maybe it was a simple picture, maybe a message thanking supporters, maybe a subtle nod to his kids, reminding the world that family still matters. He didn't crumble, hide, or explode. He stood there, steady, calm, grounded. And that right there is where the story transforms, because that first gesture said, I'm still here, I'm still standing, and I'm choosing to rebuild. For anyone who has ever had to start over after 20, 30, 40 years of loving someone, this resonates deeply. But then came the surprising part. Most people expected Mark to disappear for a while, take time off, lick his wounds, avoid public attention. Instead, he did something unexpected. He gave. Maybe he showed up at a youth center. Maybe he made a quiet donation. Maybe he opened up about men aging, about emotional wellness, about loss. Whatever the gesture was, it wasn't about image. It was about purpose. Because here's a truth society rarely says out loud. When you reach middle age, people sometimes act like your greatest chapters are behind you. That after a divorce, after a career change, after the kids leave home, you fade into the background. But Mark's action pushed back against that idea. He didn't vanish, he didn't drown in heartbreak. He stepped forward with intention. And in that one small, grounded moment, we saw fortitude. He didn't break. Authenticity. He didn't fake strength. He embodied it. Community. He didn't isolate himself, he reached outward. For anyone who has lived through love, loss, sacrifice, reinvention, this is powerful because it's a reminder that endings are not failures. They are transformations. And that's not all. There was something else hidden inside that first public action. A hint, a seed, a suggestion that something new is coming. A new project, a new partnership, a new direction for his life. You could almost feel it. This wasn't a breakup. It was a beginning. And now let's bring this back to us because that's the real value here. Watching someone like Mark rebuild after heartbreak can teach us something profound. It's okay to be visible again. You don't have to hide your pain or your healing. It's okay to move forward, not out of disrespect for what was, but out of love for what can be. It's okay to rediscover who you are. Your story doesn't end with the relationship. Your purpose doesn't evaporate. You do not become less valuable simply because life shifted. Maybe you've been through a breakup of your own. Maybe your career changed. Maybe your home is empty now, the quiet heavier than you expected. But like Mark, you get to choose your first step. You get to decide what message you send the world and yourself. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be intentional. Your life didn't end. It evolved. And that's the heartbeat of the story. Mark's first public move wasn't a performance. It was a declaration. My story continues. I am growing. I will rebuild. And as we watch him step into a new chapter, hinting at new ventures, new collaborations, maybe even a new sense of identity, we're watching the beginning of something meaningful. Because sometimes the quietest gestures are the ones that tell the truth. And sometimes the first step after heartbreak becomes the foundation for everything that comes next.